world, and also the NCDC regulations. And for those that lost their lives as victims of COVID-19, may the Almighty Allah forgive their sins and grant them Al-Jannatu Firdaus. And for those that are sick, we wish them a speedy recovery, and also we pray for the end of COVID-19 throughout the world.
While promising that there will be no complacency in the fight against COVID-19, President Buhari, however, made a case for the nation's farmers to also take responsibility in feeding Nigeria.
I hope the rainy season will be bountiful. We'll get a lot of food. I wish the farmers will go and stay in the land so that we can produce what we need sufficient, so that we don't have to import. In any case, we don't have any money to import food, so we must produce what we are going to eat.
As earlier announced by the presidency, due to COVID-19, President Muhammadu Buhari will not be receiving guests on Salah homage at the presidential villa. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And after a successful completion of the 30 days Ramadan fast, Muslims in Nigeria have observed the Eid al-Fitr prayers amidst COVID-19. Doyin Dia, who went round to capture the general ambience in the Federal Capital Territory, reports that this historic development may not be forgotten in a hurry, as the Ummah resorted to converting their living rooms and premises to Eid praying grounds.
This is the popular National Eid Praying Ground, which usually have mammoth crowd coming together to observe the 2 rakat prayers to commemorate the end of Ramadan fast. Unfortunately, the place is a shadow of itself due to the coronavirus pandemic. Even the environment attests to that fact. While roving the streets of Abuja to see how Muslim faithful are observing the Eid al-Fitr celebration, we are lucky to meet this family who just observe their Eid al-Fitr prayer. Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
We saw you observing Eid prayer here. Is this a praying ground?
It's not a praying ground, it's our compound. So we can't go out because of COVID-19 pandemic. So we decide we can't pray inside the room because this one is a special prayer. So we decide to just come out of our compound. You can see this is our house here. We didn't go far. And not this, we are one family.
This development is good because like last year, Salah, my husband was not around. He is at work and we did it alone. So at least today, the whole family did it together.
We perform Eid with our family. So we thank Almighty Allah. We are very grateful. We thank God.
I pray for Nigeria since when we start Ramadan. We dey pray for Nigeria, may everything just normal, just everything may go down. We dey pray for our president.
I pray for Nigeria. God bless Nigeria.
No doubt this year's Eid al-Fitr celebration will go down memory lane and be in the archives of world history owing to the coronavirus pandemic. However, the example of this family of Malan Ibrahim Ahmed Tijani shows that regardless of the situation, people can live in peace, harmony, and of course express love, just as exemplified by them on this celebration of Eid al-Fitr. In Abuja, Doyin Dia, NTA News.
Thanks, Doyin. Let's bring you global update on COVID-19. More than 5.27 million people infected with the coronavirus as Wuhan lab confirms 3 new live-birth coronavirus cases. Let's hear from Herman Jabani, who has the update.
265 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 were recorded in 13 states in Nigeria in the last 24 hours. Out of the new cases, Lagos recorded 133, Oyo 34, Edo 28, and Ogun 23 cases, while below the ladder, Kwara, Bauchi, Anambra, and Enugu states had 2 cases each. Till date, 7,526 cases have been confirmed in the country, 2,174 cases discharged, and 221 deaths recorded in 34 states and the Federal Capital Territory. And the world has recorded 5,457,152 cases of coronavirus, 345,122 deaths, and 2,283,109 recoveries, according to Johns Hopkins University's tally at 6 p.m. local time. In the meantime, Iran offers the prayers of Eid al-Fitr throughout the country while following social distancing guidelines. Indonesia, home to the world's largest Muslim population, on its part, ushered in the festival with tuned-down celebration that breaks away from tradition as part of the country's effort to maintain COVID-19 pandemic. And Thailand on Sunday report no new coronavirus case and no new death, maintaining the total confirmed cases at 3,040 and 56 fatalities since the outbreak began in January. Sunday was the fourth day in this month that there were no new daily cases. And Russia reported 153 coronavirus deaths over the previous 24 hours. The pandemic highest death toll, rising total fatality to 3,541. The country's coronavirus crisis response center said 8,599 new cases have been documented, fewer than on the previous day, pushing the national tally of infection to 344,481. China recorded 3 new confirmed COVID-19 cases on the mainland following the first day with no new case since the outbreak began, the National Health Commission said in a statement on Sunday. Of the new cases, 2 were imported while 1 was a local transmission. Meanwhile, the Chinese Virology Institute in the city where COVID-19 first emerged has reported 3 live streams of bat coronavirus on site, but none matched the new coronavirus, wreaking chaos across the world. Scientists think COVID-19, which emerged in Wuhan and has killed some 340 people worldwide, originated in bats and could have been transmitted to people via another mammal.
All right, let's look at the Eid al-Fitr. I'm now being joined in the studio by Chief Imam of Area 10 Jum'ah Mosque Abuja, Ustaz Yahya Garba Yolawi, to speak on this year's Eid prayer and celebration of Eid al-Fitr without the usual funfair. Thank you very much, Ustaz, for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, this year is the first time in history Eid al-Fitr prayers will be held privately in different homes. What's the impact of this development on the Muslim faithful?
So, Alhamdulillah, we must thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for witnessing this year's special Ramadan fast that turns almost everyone to be an imam and scholar and to observe prayer in his house with a little or his family members. What we have learned there is to have time for your family, as well as learn Islamic knowledge, because one time you must find yourself like this. Before, it is only Imam that takes the responsibility of counting the numbers of units of prayers. It's only Imam that used to take the responsibility of counting the takbirat. Even the takbirat, you are just raising your hands and saying it, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. But now, we have to go back to our senses and learn Islamic knowledge, Islamic religious knowledge very well. This is one. Secondly, it has taught us that Islam accommodates all the situations. All the situations that you find yourself, definitely it will change. Islam is dynamic. It is total way of life and dynamic, can go with any condition you are into. And this is to tell you that how universal is a religion of Islam.
All right. And I know that the Eid al-Fitr celebration and its expectation is what every Muslim looks forward to. But unfortunately, the COVID-19 has deprived them of that this year. Now, how does this affect their spiritual well-being from what you're saying?
Yes, as you said, we must thank Allah for that. Do you know whether because of that we here in Africa, in Nigeria, we are not affected as some have been affected? So we must thank Allah of what we have found ourselves in. And the celebration, yes, didn't take place the way we used to have it, but at least Ramadan have started and ended successfully, and the road has been earned, inshallah, as well as the prayers we have been supplicating. Who knows whether it is the kind of powerful prayers we have been saying that now the COVID-19 has been controlled to some extent. Yes, with the damages, if we compare to those superpowers, we can't even say it. So God is in control, and He's really helping us, and He is answering our prayers. We should use all the lessons learned in this Ramadan: patience, endurance, going with the conditions, and taking the advices of the health practitioners. Those have the knowledge. Let us try to keep their advices in order to remain healthy and lively.
All right, you just preempted what I was going to ask you about advice on the Muslim faithful. Well, thank you very much, Ustaz Yahya Garba. And Eid Mubarak. I didn't say that to you at the start.
Eidukum Mubarak. Taqabbalallahu minna minkum. May Allah accept it from you and from us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go on a break. We're back shortly. Stay tuned.
Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun.
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
All right, everybody, let's do this!
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things.
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV, live it, love it.
Thanks for staying tuned. Muslim faithful in Lagos deployed to new approach to the celebration of Eid al-Fitr by observing the prayers marking the end of Ramadan in their homes and online. Following this development, clerics urged the faithful to be steadfast in dedicating their service to Allah and humanity, especially now that the world is battling the coronavirus pandemic. Let's hear from Michael Lale.
Here at one of the Eid grounds in Lagos, no gathering, no fanfare, but Eid al-Fitr is solemnly celebrated among family members. This historic development is in strict adherence to the federal government's directive on embracing social and physical distancing as one of the measures of containing the spread of coronavirus.
Even Islam says you have to take good care of your life before you worship Him. Apart from that, there's another verse of the Holy Quran that says, فَإِذَا مَأَنَنْتُمْ فَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ. It is when everything is okay. There's no war, there's no disease out there, there's nothing, that you go out to observe prayer for Allah.
We also employed technology in some of our activities here. So like tafsir that's always holds in the month of Ramadan. So it was held. So via Zoom and other platforms, and alhamdulillah it was well received. The congregational prayer is only meant to be a way of fostering solidarity, love and togetherness among humanity.
This unusual celebration is not in any way affecting clerics' messages to Muslim faithful this festive season.
Be merciful to people on earth and be kind and charitable and generous to them, so that the Lord Azza wa Jalla is also in the heaven will be kind and generous to you.
As Muslims celebrate Eid al-Fitr, it is believed that their various supplications will intercede for the global community in ending the coronavirus pandemic.
Michael Lale there. In Kanu, the 2 Raka'at Eid al-Fitr prayers have been observed with strict compliance with the COVID-19 protocols. Abdullahi Mustafa covered the prayer session at the Central Eid ground and now reports.
It wasn't business as usual at the Kano Central Eid ground Gofarmata. Use of face masks and hand sanitizers were a condition for gaining access. Physical distancing was also ensured.
We pray to Almighty Allah to accept our ibadat, to accept all our prayers. And I want us to continue observing the protocol on COVID-19 so that inshallah we'll continue to pray and Allah will end this pandemic.
Chief Imam of Kano, Professor Muhammad Sani Zahraddin, led the 2 rakat prayers with shortened Quranic recital. In a brief sermon afterwards, the Chief Imam admonished Muslims on honesty, trustworthiness, respect for the constituted authorities, and good neighborliness. He also prayed for peace, security, and an end to the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. This year's Eid al-Fitr in Kano will be without the traditional Salah Durbar and other festivities. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
And in Sokoto, we also hear that the Eid al-Fitr prayer was performed peacefully with strict compliance to protective measures against COVID-19. Let's hear from Dalhatu Abdullahi.
The volume of crowd was controlled as worshippers converged on the Jumaat mosques closer to them for the Eid prayers, as directed by the JNI and the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs. The Eid prayer at the Sultan Muhammad Bello's Jumaat Mosque, Sokoto, had in attendance the President General of the Nigeria's Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Sultan Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol and his deputy, some Sultanate councillors, members of the state legislature, executive council, and other Muslim faithfuls. In his Salah broadcast to the people, Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol called on them to use the Eid al-Fitr period to pray for Allah's intervention on the contemporary global health challenges.
I want to urge us all to use this auspicious period to increase our supplications and prayers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring an end to all the difficulties and challenges in our state, nation, and the world at large.
The pattern at which the Eid prayers were performed was a demonstration that people saw the fight against the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic as a collective responsibility. In Sokoto, Dalat Abdullahi, NTA News.
And in Kaduna, the scenario is different, especially in compliance with the lockdown order and ban on social gatherings. Muslims in Kaduna State, we hear, observe their Eid al-Fitr without the usual congregational prayer and funfair. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachukum reports.
Showers of blessings as the Eid al-Fitr day in Kaduna was occasioned by a downpour and heavy security presence too, as government kept faith with its lockdown orders to prevent further spread of coronavirus in the states.
On a normal Eid day, Murtala Muhammad Square, Kaduna witnesses influx of thousands of worshippers for the Eid prayer. But with the lockdown rule and ban on social and religious gatherings, the Eid prayer ground is a shadow of itself as worshippers prayed the Eid in their homes.
With the Eid prayer grounds deserted, Imam Habib Umar of Murtala Muhammad Square Eid prayer ground and his counterpart Imam Muhammad Suleiman of Sultan Bello Mosque led their families for the Eid at their respective homes with due consideration to safety protocols.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu.
The prayers that we have done, especially for the eradication of the coronavirus, we would hope that we'll continue the prayers up to the time when this virus will depart us.
So we call all our people, Muslims and non-Muslim, to help each other. And during this, we have to abide by the law.
The congregants on their parts are full of appreciation to Allah for witnessing the day in good health. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachukum, NTA News.
Similarly, Muslim faithful in Ekiti State have observed the 2 ceremonial Rak'at signaling the end of this year's Ramadan fast at their various homes in accordance with the social distancing directive by the federal government to contain the spread of coronavirus. Ayodeji Ogunshaki reports that Muslims use the period to offer prayers to Allah for an end to the pandemic.
This is one of the Eid prayer grounds in Nado Ekiti, the state capital. In a day like this particular place is usually jam-packed with thousands of worshippers. But today, the narrative is different, as faithful stayed at home to observe the Salah prayer as part of the precautionary measures to curb the spread of coronavirus pandemic. This, however, took us to homes of some Muslims who observed the Salah prayer with their immediate family members.
عليها الضالين سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد.
To the adherents, observing the Salah prayer at their homes is unusual, but since such is in accordance with the laid-down order by authorities, they have no option since it is in accordance with the directive of Allah.
And our religion also permits us to obey the constituted authority. We believe that everything that is happening to us globally, Allah knows much about it. It is high time we look into the face of Allah, seek the face of Allah over the pandemic that is ongoing.
It only shows the uniqueness of Islam, that no situation that will come that Islam cannot be practiced. So this is what it demands now, that each family should pray together and the head of the family should be the Imam.
Prayers for Allah's favor on Muslim Ummah and divine intervention for an early end to the pandemic dominated at the Salah prayers. From Ado-Ekiti, Ayodi Jogushakin, NTA News.
Well, in Ebonyi State, Muslim Ummah gathered at different praying grounds in the state in strict compliance to safety measures to observe the Eid al-Fitr prayers after the 30 days Ramadan fast. Blessing Anyanwu captured the ambience in Abakaliki.
The prayer led by the Chief Imam, Malam Umaru Suleiman, adhered strictly to public health guidelines of social and physical distancing, use of running water, sanitizers and face masks. The Muslim clerics and leaders in their messages admonished faithful to take the lessons of Ramadan as a way of life and observe all safety measures preached by government at all levels to avoid the spread of coronavirus.
And give it thanks to all Christian and Muslims, say that we are all brothers and sisters. This program that we are into here is from God, and if we pray, we will still go back.
They thanked the state and federal governments in their fight against COVID-19 and for the opportunity to gather after Ramadan to pray.
To thank Almighty Allah for giving us life, and we want to use this opportunity to pray to the nation, to our state. So whatever the health people and the authorities say, we should cooperate with them and we flatten the curve.
I've been expecting that God should bring heal to us and relief for us so that at least everybody will continue these activities as well.
The faithful prayed for the security, peace and prosperous country as they look forward to the end of COVID-19 in Nigeria. In Abakaliki, Blessing Anyanwu, NTA News.
Let's talk sports. Lagos State Sports Commission has distributed relief packages to athletes, including the physically challenged, to reduce the effects of the lockdown induced by the coronavirus pandemic. The Sports Commission, on behalf of the Lagos State government, distributed the food items. Let's hear from Kende Lamidi.
Hundreds of Team Lagos athletes from all the sports and para-sports converged on Road Park Sports Center in Yaba and Teslim Balogun Stadium, Surulere, to benefit from the kind gesture of Lagos State government through the Lagos State Sports Commission, the food items to assist the beneficiaries who are facing tough time at this period of the lockdown. The Lagos State Sports Commission, which had earlier gave out financial support to the athletes during the first lockdown, continued with the distribution of food items to athletes during the carefully planned exercise while observing the social distancing guideline. Some of the beneficiaries who lauded the gesture of the Lagos State government through the Lagos State Sports Commission said the food packages will alleviate their problems.
And this is another surprise they are giving to us.
But for you who wants to remember with special needs, we'll say a very, very big thank you.
They really tried. We appreciate them.
But we are very grateful that the Sports Commission has taken the physically challenged athletes into consideration.
The Sport Commission management decided to give them 5,000 naira petty cash for them to sustain themselves.
75% of them are youth. We engage them through sport. Most of them make their livelihood through sport. But thanks to the government of Lagos.
The exercise is expected to continue with the next set of athletes receiving the relief packages. In Lagos, Kende Lamidi, NTA News.
And we're done with the news. Thanks very much for your time. Do enjoy the season while staying safe. I'm Ruth Aguilera. Bye.